Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 213th episode of Gaming Talk. On this episode, I'm going to be discussing and giving my thoughts on Dirt 5. Let's get into this. First off, I just want to remind everybody that I am not a super in-depth car person, so if you really want in-depth stuff about how the cars feel, sound, and all of that, this is not the video for you. Now, prior to this game, I was on a kick of very heavy simulation rally games. Now, this started with WRC 7, a game that I picked up for like $3 or something on a whim, just looking for a racing game that was different. At the start, I was awful. Downright awful, because I didn't know what I was doing. I then watched some actual rally racing, and it actually helped me understand what I was doing in the game. And now, WRC 7 is probably my favorite of the WRC games that I've played so far. From there, I went straight into WRC 8. It took me a little bit to get the hang of 8 with the different handling model and physics, but I eventually got the hang of it, and I was able to enjoy it. Not as much as 7, but I was able to enjoy it. Then, like the moron that I am, I went straight into WRC 9, which was a mistake. At first I thought that I just needed to adjust to the different physics, but I never could. That, coupled with the AI being all over the place, like 1 minute they're like somehow the times are faster than me, somehow they're way slower than me, and it was never consistent. I just lost the patience for WRC 9 and I gave up. I almost made the mistake of seeing what would WRC 10 be like. Would it be better? But I decided that I needed a break from the WRC games. Now, my first thought was, maybe I'll give Dirt Rally a go. But it didn't work for me either. And I knew that I liked and had a good time with Dirt 3, so maybe 4? Sadly, I couldn't get that game running. But alright, let's go to Dirt 5. And that's obviously why we're here. At the beginning of me playing Dirt 5, coupled with everything I went through with 3 WRC games in a row, I was having a lot of fun playing Dirt 5 because of the fact that the game itself made racing feel fun. It had flashy colors, it was colorful, with bombastic music and all of that. Racing in the WRC games become less fun as I went from 7 to 8, then just downright stressful as all hell with 9. Those games required 100% of my focus all of the time, to the point that the most I could do was listen to lo-fi music to help me focus even further. Dirt 5, on the other hand, didn't require that much focus on me, and let me just have fun while still winning. But, like I said, this was all at the beginning of my time with Dirt 5. As I went on, the cracks started to show, and the facade of, well, at least it's a break from all of the stressful, focus-eating simulation rally games, started to crumble as well. Now, by no means is Dirt 5 a bad game, but it just got boring as my time went on. The bombastic music I mentioned earlier, I started noticing they would play the same 4 tracks over and over. When you look at the career, you do see a lot of events to race in, but you do the same events over and over and over, sometimes with the same vehicle, because it's the only one available, which is the case for like the Pathfinder events. However, my biggest thing as to why Dirt 5 got boring is the reused tracks. Oh much. And that really got to me. Sure, they may change if it's forwards, backwards, some specific weather condition or time of day. It didn't cover up the fact that it was the same track that I've already raced on multiple times. It also doesn't help that the career mode really has nothing to keep the player invested, as there's really no story. Now, yes, some people could be motivated by simply wanting to complete every race in the career mode, just to say that they did, but not me. There's this AJ guy that talks about a rivalry with some other guy, but we never get to see that, which made it highly uninteresting to me that I didn't care about it. They try mixing in these throwdown events, which are, for the most part, just one-on-one races. But even a lot of these don't really add anything either. There was this one that was one of the one-on-one icebreaker events where AJ tells you that the person you're about to race against says that they don't think you could cut it on the ice. Despite the fact that I've won every single icebreaker race I've done up to that point in the career? That doesn't make sense. They even tried to add the need for sponsors, which still really doesn't do anything aside from determining how much money you earn per race win, and that's it. In the F1 games, sponsors not only provide you with money, but also objectives to strive for during the player's career. This doesn't even do that, but they're willing to give you additional objectives during races. Some make sense during some races, like going above a certain speed for a certain amount of time, or a certain amount of air time, a certain number of drifts, time spent in first place, and so on. However, there are races that objectives are really stupid. In 2 different throwdowns, which again are one-on-one races, one of the objectives was to do 2 overtakes. I got 1 for my initial getting into first place, which I stayed in for the rest of the time. Like, I'm not slowing down to let the other person pass me so I can overtake them again to get that second overtake. Honestly, I don't put a lot of effort into the 3 race objectives because I just want to win the race and move on. As far as the car goes, I mean, there are rally cars, rally trucks, bigger trucks, like the one used for the Pathfinder races, and so on. The cars have different liveries that you can earn by just doing races and winning them. As I said at the start of all this, I'm not a car gal, so they seem fine enough to me. I'll be honest, my biggest problem with the cars and subsequently the liveries is that some of them are only available through the Microsoft Store. Yes, not Steam, the Microsoft Store. Same with some of the game's DLC too. All tied to the Microsoft Store, and that's really stupid. Again, like I said, Dirt 5, not a bad game at all. It can be fun, but it gets boring doing the same events over and over on the same tracks, listening to the same 4 songs over and over. Plus, the whole Microsoft Store thing isn't great either, but those cars don't really matter, as you can do all the races with cars you can buy with the money you earn from the races. To me, this game is like the Forza Horizon of off-road racing, especially with its festival-like atmosphere, and again, coming off of 3 WRC games, that was a nice change of pace for me. Can I recommend it? Yes and no at the same time. But Dirt 5 is an average but enjoyable game. That's all I have to say, so if you like this kind of content, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.